There was a time when Rome trembled beneath the weight of its own greatness. Armies marched, empires rose. Yet amid all the noise and glory, one man sat alone in a tent, writing to himself. His name was Marcus Aurelius, emperor, general, philosopher. A man who ruled the known world, but knew the hardest victory is not over others. It is over the restless storm within one's own mind. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Those words were not meant for soldiers. They were meant for the soul. Because the greatest war ever fought was never on the battlefield. It was fought in silence, in thought and in the heart of man. Look closely, and you will see that same battlefield still exists today. Not in armor and steel, but in distraction, anxiety, and noise. Our wars are invisible now, fought through screens, expectations, and the constant pull of things we cannot control. We rise each morning to face a world that demands everything, yet rewards very little peace. We chase approval, we chase comfort, we chase certainty, and in the chase, we forget the only realm we truly command, our own mind. Seneca once said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." He was right. Most of our suffering begins not with what happens to us, but with what we believe about what happens to us. We build entire tragedies in our heads, long before life ever unfolds them. We argue with the past, we fear the future, and the present moment, the only place peace can live, passes us by like smoke in the wind. The Stoics called this awareness the discipline of perception. To see things as they are, not as our emotions paint them. To strip away judgment until only truth remains. When Marcus looked at chaos, he didn't see punishment. He saw practice. Every insult, a lesson in patience. Every loss, a test of endurance. Every hardship, an invitation to return to himself. And so must we learn to do the same. To look at the world, not with panic, but with poise. To stand before uncertainty and whisper, "You cannot touch the calm I build within." Every day your mind will try to escape. It will run toward distraction, toward fear, toward things you cannot change. Call it back, again and again. That is the true discipline. Not the absence of emotion, but the mastery of attention. I am not my anger. I am not my fear. I am the space that holds them and lets them go. Close your eyes and imagine standing on that ancient battlefield. All around you, the noise of thought, the clash of emotion, the fog of confusion. Now take one step back. Listen, beneath the chaos, there is silence. Beneath the noise, there is you. That is where the Stoic lives. Not untouched by pain, but unbroken by it. Not immune to chaos, but unmoved by it. Marcus did not seek peace in the empire. He built it within his own mind. He discovered that to conquer the world, one must first conquer the self. And so, tonight, as the world turns quietly around you, remember this: the war within will never end. But you can learn to meet it with stillness. Let your breath be your shield. Let your calm be your sword. For the storms will always come, but peace, real peace, belongs to the one who no longer fights himself. Every morning, Marcus Aurelius rose before the sun. Before the senators, before the soldiers, before the empire itself. He sat in silence and spoke to his own mind. Today I shall meet interference, ingratitude, arrogance, deceit, jealousy, and selfishness, he wrote. Not in despair, but in preparation. Because to the Stoic, acceptance is not weakness, it is wisdom. Marcus knew that life cannot be arranged to his liking. No man, not even an emperor, can command the weather, the hearts of others, or the hands of fate. He could rule legions, but not the turning of the seasons. He could give orders, but not guarantee their obedience. Control ends at the edge of your mind, Seneca said. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. We build cages out of expectations, that people will be kind, that plans will unfold, that the world will be fair. But life was never built to obey us. The universe moves as it must, not as we wish. When we demand that it bend, we break instead. Acceptance to a Stoic is not surrender. It is alignment. It is standing with the wind instead of against it, knowing that storms pass faster when we cease to fight them. Epictetus taught, some things are up to us, and some are not. He was once a slave, yet freer than most kings because he understood the map of control. Up to us, our thoughts, our choices, our responses. Not up to us, everything else. Imagine throwing a stone into a pond. You cannot stop the ripples once they form, but you can decide whether to disturb the water at all. That choice, that pause, is where freedom lives. Acceptance does not mean indifference. It means serenity in motion. It is not the absence of feeling. It is the mastery of reaction. This too belongs. I may not have chosen it, but I will choose how to meet it. Our age has not changed much from theirs. We still wrestle with outcomes we cannot control. Love that leaves, jobs that vanish, words that wound. We curse the heavens, forgetting that peace was never meant to be found there. It was meant to be built here, inside. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. He was not preaching detachment. He was teaching clarity, the ability to see what is, without drowning in what should be. How much of your suffering comes from resisting what already is? How many nights have you lost to why me when peace was whispering, accept and rest? To accept is not to give up, and it is to give over. To hand back to the universe what was never truly yours. Let the world be the world. Let people be as they are. You do not need to win every argument, correct every flaw, or chase every storm. The Stoic's calm is not born of ignorance. It is born of focus. He knows where his control begins and where it ends. That is the secret of inner strength. To hold the world gently enough that it can leave at any time. Close your eyes. Feel the weight of everything you are trying to control. People, time, outcomes. Now, imagine placing it all in your open hands. Watch it dissolve like mist. What remains is you, simple, steady, whole. Acceptance is not the end of effort. It is the beginning of wisdom. When we stop fighting reality, we start shaping ourselves. Marcus laid down his pen, whispering to himself, "The world is change. Life is opinion." Then he blew out the candle, and the night returned to silence. There is a kind of freedom that destroys itself, a freedom without form, without purpose, without wisdom. And then there is the other kind, the quiet, disciplined kind, the kind that does not shout but stands still. Marcus Aurelius ruled legions, yet he understood that the mind, left unguarded, can become the cruelest tyrant of all. He wrote, "You become what you give your attention to. If your thoughts are noble, your life will follow them." To the Stoic, discipline was not punishment. It was protection. Boundaries were not walls to keep joy out, but gates to keep chaos from rushing in. Seneca said, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself. Without discipline, we are lost to impulse, and impulse is the fastest path to regret, to speak only what is true, to feel deeply, but act wisely, every motion born from reason, every silence filled with strength. Modern man has forgotten this art. We mistake freedom for indulgence. We call distraction choice. We feed every craving and wonder why we feel starved. But the Stoic sees differently. He knows that to be free, you must learn to command yourself. Epictetus taught this truth from the humblest place imaginable, as a slave. He said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And he was right, because the one who cannot command his thoughts will be ruled by them. The one who cannot endure a moment of discomfort will become prisoner to comfort itself. The one who cannot say no has already lost the right to say yes with meaning. Freedom, to the Stoic, was never about doing whatever one pleased. It was about doing what is right, even when it hurts, even when no one sees. It was about the discipline to stand tall in chaos and say, "I decide how my soul will move today." Marcus wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Simple words. But simple is not easy. Discipline is the quiet architecture of peace. It builds a home inside you brick by brick until the storms cannot shake its walls. Each decision to stay calm. Each moment you choose patience over anger. Each time you return to your breath instead of your frustration, another stone is laid. Discipline is not about control over the world. It is about control over how the world touches you. To master the mind is to give it boundaries, not as a cage, but as a compass. When the mind has direction, the soul has peace. And peace once found does not depend on circumstance. When you know your limits, you are limitless within them. When you know your duties, you are free from confusion. When you live by principle, you no longer need permission. He knew this truth in his bones, that no empire, no wealth, no triumph can give peace to a man at war with himself. He ruled Rome, yet sought only to rule his thoughts. So, tonight, as the world fades to stillness, who commands your mind, your reason, or your desire? When the next impulse calls you, pause. When the next fear whispers, breathe. When the next distraction beckons, return. That return is the practice. That pause is the power. That breath is the discipline that frees you. No man is free who is not master of himself. No empire is strong whose ruler is weak within. So build your fortress, not of stone, but of stillness. Shape your freedom, not through indulgence, but through intention. And let your life become the quiet proof that the soul, once disciplined, is unshakable. Everything you love, everything you cling to, everything you believe to be yours, will one day drift away like the tide. This is not tragedy. It is nature. And the Stoic learns not to curse it, but to bow to it, to love without possession, to live without grasping. Marcus wrote, "Loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight." He did not write this to sound wise. He wrote it to survive the weight of impermanence. He had lost friends, children, brothers. He had seen the empire itself crumble and rebuild, like waves forever breaking upon rock. And yet, he found peace not in resistance, but in release. Seneca taught, "He suffers more who clings to what must pass." For when you cling to what is temporary, you do not hold it, it holds you. The more tightly you grip, the more it slips through your fingers. The Stoic way is not cold detachment. It is peaceful participation. To love fully, knowing the beloved will fade. To care deeply, knowing the outcome is not yours to own. This is what it means to walk the middle path, to live in the world, but not be bound by it. To feel deeply, but not drown in feeling. To serve fully, but not be broken by loss. We all carry something we are afraid to lose. A person, a dream, a season of life we wish would last forever. But life in its wisdom takes everything that clings too tightly, not to punish us, but to teach us that peace cannot depend on possession. Epictetus said, "Never say of anything, 'I have lost it,' but only, 'I have returned it.'" When something leaves your life, a friend, a fortune, a time, it was never truly yours to begin with. You were its steward, not its owner. It passed through your hands, and now it passes on. The Stoic heart does not harden. It opens wider, because it understands that love does not end when form does. It transforms from possession into gratitude, to let go without disconnecting. This is the art of peace. To stand in the flow of time and say, "I am part of this movement. I am not above it." When you stop demanding that things stay, you begin to see their beauty clearly. A sunset is not beautiful despite its brevity. It is beautiful because of it. Every breath, every smile, every moment exists to be lived, not owned, he wrote. Consider how swiftly all things pass away and are gone, their substances, the memory of them, and the time of our lives. And yet, he did not despair, he smiled, because he saw eternity, not in endlessness, but in the present. To the Stoic, eternity is now. When you are fully awake in this moment, you live outside of time, and in that awareness, you are free. So when you wake tomorrow, and something feels uncertain, or something you love begins to change, do not reach for control. Reach for gratitude. This moment was never mine to keep. It was a gift to be experienced, and I was here to witness it. Then breathe, let it go. Not because you don't care, but because you do. In this way, the Stoic heart loves everything and loses nothing. Because what it cannot hold in its hands, it keeps forever in its understanding. Let the waves take what they must. Let life move as it will. For the soul that learns to let go becomes as vast, as calm, and as eternal as the sea itself. There is a way of seeing that transforms everything, not through the eyes, but through the mind. Marcus Aurelius called it the view from above, a practice of lifting the soul beyond its own small circle and seeing life, not as chaos, but as a pattern too vast to grasp from the ground. When you see from above, anger fades into understanding, fear dissolves into humility, and the boundaries between you and them begin to soften, because you realize that all things flow in the same current. Epictetus said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of them." He was right. It is not the world that torments us. It is our perception of it. Two men can stand beneath the same storm. One curses the rain, the other thanks the sky for cleansing the earth. The difference is not in the storm, but in the soul that faces it. The Stoics knew that peace is a skill of perception. To see what is, without adding what you wish or fear. To look at a challenge and say, this is not punishment, this is practice. To look at a person who hurts you and say, they act from ignorance, not evil. This way of seeing is not denial. It is the highest form of wisdom, to witness life as it is, and choose your response with grace. Seneca once wrote, "A wise man is content with his lot, whatever it may be, without wishing for what he has not." Because contentment is not the absence of ambition, it is the mastery of perspective. To be aware is to live awake, to see beauty in the ordinary, and order in the apparent mess. The Stoic does not chase miracles. He finds them in every quiet moment of clarity. He understood that the world does not exist to please us. It simply is. And our task is not to control it, but to learn from it, to see every event, pleasant or painful, as part of the same cosmic design. Awareness is the doorway to freedom. Because when you see clearly, you no longer react, you respond. You no longer demand that the world change. You change your relationship to it. Perception is not about what enters your eyes. It's about what you allow to touch your soul. When you train the eye of the mind to look for virtue, you begin to see it everywhere. In patience, in simplicity, in endurance, in quiet acts of love. And once you see it, you become it. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. So color your thoughts with peace. Color them with gratitude. Color them with the quiet knowing that everything that happens, even this moment, belongs to the tapestry of the universe. So when your mind begins to wander, when life feels heavy or unfair, remember the eye of the mind. Step above the noise. Look down with understanding and see that you are still part of something vast, beautiful, and good. For perception is creation. As you see, so you live. As you think, so you become. Everything is perception, and the mind can choose its view.